Hi guys, this is Katja with Creative Studio. Today I'm sharing a new mini album again, and this time it is a paperback mini album. I have done those before in the past. I have done a Christmas version and a Premium Marketing Princess paper version, which is sort of a romantic, shabby chic kind of version. Today I am sharing a version for a teenage boy who will turn 16, so a young man actually. And his mother, my friend, she asked me to create such a paperback, a mini album for him in a 16-year-old boy appropriate theme. So I suggested to her maybe graffiti would be something that he might like, and she said yes, he probably would. So I went and bought this paper, and this is Ella and Viv Paper Company's Graffiti Kit. And I have to say they really did a great job designing these papers. They are versatile, they offer great variation, many different colors, and a really graffiti theme with like wall and stone and paint and all kinds of different types of graffiti-like art. So it is not my usual pick of paper, so it was new for me as well. And by that I mean that the papers were not as color coordinated or as, in general, as coordinated with each other. As they are probably designed to be featured as maybe a layout or some such. Anyway, so that about the paper. Now I'm going to show you this paperback mini album. As for the design, I won't do a tutorial because I followed a tutorial by Kathy Orta, one of her earlier ones. I think it may even have been around 2012 or something. And I will link to her first part of her series. And so if you want to create one yourself, you can follow her tutorial. And it's the same as the other two albums that I just mentioned, so there's nothing new there. However, I did apply some new techniques because I combined the papers with some mixed media techniques. So here and there in the album I will point those out. So I worked with some inks and some texture pastes, not on every page, but you will see when we get to it. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so this is the basic shape of a paperback mini album according to the tutorial that I did by Kathy Orta. I used some book muslin here, some colored book muslin for a spine, which I think differs from her tutorial, but I find this very practical material, very sturdy and also very supple, so you can open your book completely without cracking the spine. Okay, so what we see on front here, I did some decorative elements here, metal elements, and I used some distress crayons here and here to add a touch of color and to mattify it a bit. And the same here, this is an ornament that I bought as is, but I used some distress crayons here to add a different color. This is a wooden shape, and I'll insert the before picture, so you can see that I added some mixed media techniques with some grid paste, some inks, and again some distress crayons to get this gritty look. And of course the showpiece here, I'm not deaf, I'm just ignoring you, which I thought was a particularly fitting piece of text for a teenager, a 16-year-old young man, as I said. I think this might express his thoughts there. Well, I'm not sure, but I thought it funny, so added it. And of course it is magnetic. This is a fridge magnet, so I found that by coincidence, and I thought let's buy it so he can, if he wants, take it off and stick it to anything metal that he likes. But I also added some super strong magnets here, I have to say. These are not your regular craft magnets. These are thicker, and I needed 2 because this magnet actually weighs a bit. So in order not to have it fall off when the album stands up, I had to use these super strong magnets. And then let's go to the back. So nothing to see there. Oops, and there goes the magnet. So, okay. So I'll just point out the most important things. The basic shape of the page here is the same on every single page assembly. So all have 2 pockets here and here. And of course it is a paper bag, so there is a large pocket in which you can put a photo tag. And then it also on the other side has a large flap with again a pocket here and here. So that is the same shape for all of these pages. So from this moment on I will just point out some specifics and add some music if I don't have anything to say that you need to hear. Let's start here. I have something to say here. So what I did here, I die cut this fragment of a wall pattern because, you know, graffiti, I like that wall idea. This is a scrap mat. If you want to know how I do this type of paper piecing, check out my video tutorial on how to create scrap mats. This is, I think, a nice technique to share with you. I Googled a nice graffiti alphabet, graffiti font, because the boy's name is Dylan, so I was looking for a D, and I printed that onto the design paper, and then I took a white pen, a white gel pen, or a white paint pen would do as well. For instance, the Dilutions paint pen, but any white pen will do, and I added some highlights by myself. And then, what I also did is add photo templates all throughout the album. I stuck them down with repositional tape so they will be very easy to remove, put on the back of a photo, trace around them, and then cut so that either the boy or his mother, my friend, will be able to fit their pictures exactly on these shapes. And I also used my white pen again, this time here, to add this border here, just doodling a bit with some dots and stripes. Oh, and of course this flap here, it has the same die cut wall pattern. The pattern that you see here, I added 1 or 2 sheets of paper with different patterns, not from the graffiti kit. So I thought, well, this green does match the color, but I wanted to add some graffiti-like elements. So what I did here is I took a stencil and then inked in 2 colors of ink, so black and blue, and then again with the white pen highlighted one of them. And I did that to really harmonize it with the other papers here that you see that are from the kit. Now here again I added some of my ink work. So here I did some stenciling in numbers, and the same here, but here I used some Distress Oxide inks, oxides because they will show on darker papers, and here I used my white pen again. So it's the same stencil but different mediums, and here I use a different stencil on that same green paper that you just saw, but with a different pattern, and again with 2 colors of ink, just, you know, patted it through the stencil to add to the pattern and harmonize it with the rest of the papers. For instance, this paper here, so to get more of a synchronized effect there. This is of course a photo mat, and I did a small strip of paper here to take it out, as it were. Now this actually is part of the cover paper of the graffiti kit collection. I always like to use these kinds of cover pieces because they show all of the papers of the collection. I just created a little layout here with, again, the templates that are easily removable, and I added with a metal gold marker here, just doodled some little stripes and added to the effect. And look at the gusset here. So I did the numbers here, right? And here, so each gusset is unique. I added again some Distress Oxide inks through a stencil, a shifter stencil by Tim Holtz, and I used 3 different colors of ink. So again, these are oxides. And then I used some metal markers again to outline them, to outline these hexagons. Okay, so here are 2 photo tags. Now look at this nice layout here. So what I did, piece of washi tape and a sentiment here, don't forget the fly, and I embossed that actually. So it's a gold embossing powder, and then I doodled with the gold pen around it and lifted it with some dimensional tape. And this dragon here, oh, I like it a lot. So I chose a dragon because, you know, it's for a 16-year-old young man. So I thought a bird or some cute little thing would be too cutesy. So I thought, let's do a dragon. Don't forget to fly. So here's the dragon that he may be on the inside. And I mean that in the best of ways, of course. So what I did, I took a piece of design paper as a base. So not a white piece of paper. I stamped in embossing ink, and then I used several colors. I show you too, but it's several colors of embossing glaze. So the embossing glaze powders are the embossing powders by Tim Holtz that are translucent. So they are colored, but they are also translucent. So you will still you'll see both. So this is a reddish color here, but you can also see the design paper pattern through the coloring, and that is why I used the embossing glazes and not embossing powders, because the powders would be opaque. So there you go. I really love that effect, and then I just fussy cut it and stuck it onto this pocket. So all of these solids that you see everywhere are the templates that I told you about. And I always choose these colors to coordinate with this entire assembly. So this and then this. Now this is what I would call my favorite page assembly of the album. I always have a favorite double layout. It's just what it is. And let's tell you why this is my favorite. Let's take this out. This paper I found the most difficult to work with of this entire collection because it is a different style, harsher colors, brighter colors I have to say, with starker contrasts. It's just, I found it quite difficult to combine with other papers. Also, I didn't have exactly enough papers. So I thought, you know, instead of looking for some matching or coordinating paper for this one, let's make my own. So that is what I did here. So I took a piece of white mixed media paper. So this started off solid white, and I created my own design paper. with some mixed media techniques. So I used some spray inks, I splattered with some oxide, I used some grit paste here to do the wall. I used the embossing glazes again in different colors. So again, the red here and the amber yellow here and some blues and greens here. And heat embossed the entire thing. And now I have this gritty wall here and here a small piece as well. I really love it. Of course, a graffiti D for Dylan again, and some stamping here and there. So I'm particularly proud of this piece. It matches, it coordinates, in my opinion, very well with this. And well, I'm particularly proud, I guess, of this piece of work. And I continued that on the inside of the assembly, because here, well, I had finished this piece and then I forgot that I needed another piece here, because otherwise I would of course have taken a larger piece, did the whole thing and then cut a piece off and use it here. But since I forgot that, I had to make it from scratch. So again, a piece of mixed media paper, a strip, and I just did my thing all over again. So with the spray inks, this time I used an oxide through a stencil. So here are the numbers again. You saw this stencil on the previous pages before. I did some stenciling here with a wall pattern. I think I sprayed this and then did a mono printing here. So that is turning the stencil that you just sprayed. So it is full of ink. You just turn it over and then press it down, so you get the opposite effect. So here the bricks are black and here the outline of the bricks is black. So that is what I did there. Yeah, so I think it worked out pretty well. Oh, let's return this one. Where did I get that? Oh, here. And well, here's just a nice little tag, just to fill that pocket. But here is the photo booklet that is the showstopper for this page. And yeah, it's magnetized. I like it. Now, I also used some black paper that is not part of the collection. So I thought, let's color it up a bit. So again, with the numbers stencil and some distress oxide ink, because that shows up on black. And all of these tabs here are simply a label die cut. So I die cut a label and then folded it in half. I did that on every one of these photo mats. Oh, and let's look at the gusset. So again with the numbers, but this time in a red distress oxide. All right, so next page, did one of my scrap mats again. So here you see actually 5 pieces of paper, different patterns, and you can see you can use your scraps like that and you will gain some paper real estate, and then you have a photo booklet. Some photo mats here, but here this is what I wanted to show you. So again with the green paper that is not part of the graffiti collection, so I colored it up a bit. So first here, this is a shifter stencil by Tim Holtz. So I used 2 colors, blue and black, to add a bit of a pattern here. And then with the white pen, I did 1 highlight here. Then I took another stencil. This is again a Tim Holtz stencil with just some numbers, and I combined my own. So I combined the 1 with the 6 to get 16, which is of course the age of Dylan's age. And he will get this album from his mother when he turns 16. Now here I used some design paper, but I also used some inks and paints. So here I used a piece of design paper with a brick pattern, and then I took some green paint and painted here just some highlights, and also here some bricks. And then with the white pen, added some highlights here and there. And here it's sort of the other way around. This is a green paper again that I used here as well. And then with 2 different colors of ink, stenciled some brick patterns here and then highlighted them with some white pen. And then here in the gusset, this is actually a stamp that I use, a bit of a grungy stamp, and I inked it up with different colors of oxide ink. I always use oxide on black paper because normal dye inks won't show up. Here I did the same 16, so it's the same stencil, but of course only part. But I think it's nice like this. You can still recognize that it says 16 and you know, it's just cut off. I like that effect. So I did a bit of green ink here. I think it's oxide ink or maybe a thin layer of paint. And then with the white pen, of course, again, the outline. Here is a nice photo booklet, pretty simple. And here is a photo mat. And I colored the edges pretty roughly with some distress crayons on both sides. So these are crayons, which will also show up on black paper. Here again with the black paper to matte. And I added a brick pattern in oxide ink. So you can see a little bit of inking goes a long way. It adds to your project and it's quite simple to do. Okay, well, let's start with the gusset for once. So here is the gusset. So I used, what did I use? I used a stamp and I stamped it with a blue oxide ink and it gave a bit of a dark blue effect, and then I used the white pen again to highlight some of its shapes. So just some details that I found in the stamp. Pocket again with a tag, but the thing that I did here, let me see if I can get that on camera. So I used some transparent texture paste, so that dries glossy, as you can see, and I used a brick pattern again, and I used it parallel to the papers pattern. So the papers bricks are like this, like vertical, so I used a stencil vertically as well. So, well, here you can see it. See, so this is a texture, because it is a texture paste. It's just not... It's thinner than the other texture pastes. So you can also use this to seal color or some such. I have a blog post on that, but here I use it just to add texture and to, you know, if you go over the brick pattern, the papers brick pattern, you can actually feel a brick pattern, which I thought was a fun effect. Well, this is just a regular photo mat. And of course you can use the template on both sides. And here again a lot of mats and tags. Okay, so here I did a belly band with a space for a picture here with a template here, and I also stuck a photo mat just behind the belly band. Of course, this is very red, but imagine that a picture is already on it, or maybe 2 pictures in a portrait shape, and then this wouldn't be so red, of course. And let's open it up. And here is a place for a sentiment, and I added some screw brads, which I love, and I added some striping here to highlight the border with a white pen. So I did a layout here, die cut a shape, added a template, added a diagonal decorative strip of design paper here. And then I embossed a sentiment again. You rocked it like a boss, and added my handmade charm here. Lifted this up with some dimensional tape. So yeah, that was the album. Alright, and we're back. I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough. And yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of my new album and of the mixed media ideas that I incorporated into it. I found it a lot of fun to combine these techniques, so the original paper crafting and some of the mixed media techniques that I've been dabbling I don't know. Anyway, so let me know in the comments below what you thought about that. And if you like this video, press the like. And if you want, subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel if you do that because of YouTube's algorithms. So the more you like videos or leave comments, interact, the more the algorithm will see that that is content that you like. And it will pop up more in your timeline. Not just my videos, but comparable videos as well. So there's a tip for you. And yeah, so I'm not sure what video I will do next. Oh yeah, and I want to point out that on my blog nowadays, I post more on my blog than I do on YouTube. So I still try to keep a weekly or bi-weekly schedule on YouTube. But meanwhile, I do smaller projects or maybe parts of projects over on my blog. So that is a blog exclusive. So that is just pictures, no video is what I mean by that. And there I explain a lot of the steps and the techniques that I take with creating certain backgrounds or cards or, well, many of those kinds of projects. So if you like my work, or if you feel inspired by it, or if you want some more inspiration, check out my blog, guys, because there is more of where this came from. Okay, I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye.